And so before I get into anything, I want you to thank yourself. And this is something that we don't normally do, right? But I really want you to just stop and say to yourself and say out loud, thank you, such and such, whatever your name is, for just being you. A lot of the time as men, when we're improving our lives and when we make big jumps, we don't even notice how big these jumps are. It's as if we're going upstairs, right? And we leap up 5 steps and we don't even notice. We think we just went up 1 step. And I feel like this is a form of self-hate. You really need to love who you are if you want to get to that next level. You have to appreciate where you started from, because that's what made, the advancement that much better. When I was little, when I was around 8 years old, 9, around 10 years old, I didn't eat much food. I weighed under 105 pounds. I just barely made 100 pounds sometimes, but I really didn't eat enough. And I was very skinny. I looked very skinny. I was very weak. I looked frail. And I got bullied for that. It's just something that happened. And around the same time, I was prescribed medication. I wouldn't say medication, but I was given something so I would eat more. Fast forward to today, 2025. I'm 17. I have a 6-pack abs. I have a well-built physique. I've helped men build their own physiques and change their mindsets. I've made such a big leap to where I never really noticed how big of a leap I made until now. You know what I mean? It's really right now where I notice how much of a step up I've really made. And maybe this is you, right? Maybe you're the guy that's gotten a few pounds down. Maybe it's 5 pounds down. Maybe it's 7, maybe it's even 10. But the problem is that instead of actually thanking yourself for losing that weight, you're thinking, what's next? What's next? Oh, I've lost 5. How can I get to 10? Oh, I've lost 10. How can I get to 15? Instead of thinking, wow, I really made it to 5. And if I can make it to 5, I know I can make it to 6. And then you lose another. And then you lose another. And then by the time you know it, you lost 15, 20 pounds without hating on yourself, but actually being proud of who you are as a man. See, it's a whole mental shift. You have to change the way of thinking from what's the next step to I'm grateful for this current step and I'm looking forward to what's next. I live in a town that's not so great. I live in a pretty, I'd say, not the best town. I wouldn't say it's like the hood or anything, but it's just not the best town. But I'm not, thinking at the moment, what's the next step? How can I get out? How can I get out? That was how I was thinking a few months back, but I realized it pulled me into this negative view to where I just hated where I was at, and I had so much anger inside of me for where I was. And from this, it made me less productive because I was just dominated by the thoughts of how can I leave the situation? How can I get out of the situation? But I'm really starting to understand that you need to be grateful. I'm grateful of where I'm at now because it's not the best place. But when I do make that shift, it's gonna make it all the more better. See, if I went from version 1 to version 1.1, I wouldn't bat an eye. But if I went from version 1 to 2, that's the big difference. So right now in your life, wherever you're at, maybe you're trying to lose weight, maybe you're trying to leave your town, maybe you're trying to make more money, whatever it is, you're at version 1 right now. So be happy you're even at version 1. You're not at the beta. You're not at early access. You're not at, the worst position. Be happy that you have the resources to get you to that next step. Because a lot of people don't have this. A lot of people don't have access to a gym. Believe it or not, a lot of people don't have access to healthy food. That's another thing in the USA, but I'm not going to break into that right now. But a lot of people don't have access to things that would help them level up. So really just be grateful that you have access to a gym, that you're able to get a good job, that you're able to make good money, that you're able to meet new people all the time. Whatever your situation is, I'm not sure what it is, but really just understand that the spot you're in right now, it's a good spot. Be thankful that you're in that spot and not a worse spot. Be happy and embrace where you're at right now, because chances are you're gonna look back in the future and say, wow, look at how far I came. And that's where the real happiness comes from. Right now, I look different, I feel different, I'm stronger, I'm built different. But as much as it makes me happy, I'm more happy to look at the progress, you know what I mean? Like when I was 10, when I was 11, when I was 12, when I was 13, when I was 14 even, when I was 15 even, not even too long ago, I wasn't thinking the way I was right now. I wasn't making content, I wasn't in the gym like that, I wasn't eating the way I should have been eating, but I'm eating better now. I'm doing a lot better in all these different facets right now. Life is a whole lot better for me right now, and that's what makes it good. It's not the new PR in the bench press. Nobody cares about your PR. It's not the deadlift, it's not the squat. It's I made it 2 years consistency in the gym. I've been going to the gym for this long. People ask me how I built this physique. I filled the sleeves of my shirts. That's the real satisfaction. That's where the real happiness comes from. And this is what you need to understand. Happiness comes from the things that you would never expect it to come from. Maybe if you want to make money, right? Let me drink some water real quick. But maybe it's money you want to make, right? Yes, you're going to be happy when you get to that monetary goal. I have a goal to make a certain amount of money, and I know I'm going to be happy when I get to that goal. But I'm really happy about the process, right? A lot of people don't like the process, and because of that, they never get to their goal. And it's just a whole mental conflict that just sticks in their head, and it never helps them level up. But I really appreciate, the work I have to put in, because some people, they don't have such good chances to change their life. I'm happy of the struggle, because the struggle is what makes you more and more powerful as a man. As a man, we shouldn't think in ways of hatred. We shouldn't think of ways of anger, of depression, of just being upset and being in a bad state of mind, because that's where the weakness comes in as a man. The weakest thing you could do as a man is embrace your anger. The weakest thing you could do as a man is embrace your emotions, be upset at things all the time, and surround yourself with negativity. As men, we have to be positive because our lives are tough. It's the opposite. The opposite is what's going to attract, right? The opposite is what's going to make your life better. It's thinking, in my current situation where things aren't the best, what can I value? What's the valuable thing that I could get from this current part in my life? What's the good out of it? What's the good that I could take from the bad? And that when you take that good, you really embrace it. You make it something powerful. You make it strong. You make it present in your head all the time. So when you're working, when you're grinding, when you're evolving yourself as a man, that's the motivation. That's the discipline. That's what gets you to that next level. That's what gets you higher and higher and higher. That's what gets you the muscle, the biceps, the triceps. That's what gets you bigger quads. I use so many different things to explain this example, but that's how you get that better and better and better in your life. It's not from looking at the negativity, but instead looking at the positivity. And it's simple. It's so simple. And I preach this on my channel. It's all about simplicity. As a man, you cannot make your life more complex than it already is. You have to make it as simple as possible so you could level it up as quick as possible, because we don't have much time on this earth. I think it's around 70 where most men die, or 80. It's one of those. But when you really look at it, that's not that much time you have until then. Right now you're sleeping, that's 8 hours of your day, or maybe 7 or 9, whatever. Maybe you're working, maybe you have school, whatever it is, you don't have that much time. So instead of dwelling on the negativity, dwell on the positivity. Look at what's good. See that life is a journey and really enjoy the journey instead of looking at the end goal, the end goal, the end goal. Once you make it to the end goal, it's gonna be nice for a little, but then you're gonna be thinking about the next end goal and the next, and you're in a constant loop of just wanting the next thing instead of looking at where you're at right now and being grateful, being thankful of how God put you in where you are right now. But yeah, that's the video. I just wanted to tell you guys and make sure you guys realize the progress that you've made, progress that you're going to make, and really just be thankful of what you've done in your life as a man. Be thankful of who you are as a man. But yeah, that's the video. I'll catch you on the next one.